Last day of good morning everyone and welcome to our last day of seminars in this 5-day seminar cycle. Today we will have two speakers from Nature Conservation Agency of Latvia and one at 12 o'clock, and we will have two presentations on the Estonian side. Our first speaker is Roland Sauziņš, Regional Director of the agency, and he will try to cover a very interesting topic, nature conservation and forests in Latvia. And we have agreed with Roland that because he needs to be in another meeting in half an hour, that he will try to squeeze this into half an hour, and then we take a little bit longer break before the next presentation on the Estonian side. Roland, are you there?
Yes, hello, good morning everybody. I'm here. Can I start to share screen?
Yes, you can, please.
I'll try. Let's see.
It looks fine, Roland.
It looks fine. Good.
We see it. We can see it.
Yes.
Okay. Can you see in full screen or
No,
just?
no, you have to switch it.
Okay. Is it better now? Or it's still coming? Because now on my screen it is in presentation mode, so it's slideshow. How it is about you?
No, on mine it's not. But
Man arī nerādās kā slideshows. Tur apakšā to īstenībā.
And if I move on, I already switched to another next slide. Is it moving or not? Not.
Oh.
not.
Oh. Why it is so? Oh, sorry, I got just a week ago new computer, so it's I'm still learning.
Maybe if you try once again, if you stop sharing and start once again.
Okay, I stop sharing. And I try once again. At least you can hear me and I can hear you. Okay, so now it is in presentation or in slideshow in my computer. Not in yours, not on your screen.
No.
And which slide do you see?
Is the first one.
First one. But I have already second one. Maybe, I don't know, Grigori, maybe you can open in your computer because you have my presentation.
Yes, hello, Roland. I can do this for you. Grigori is sending the presentation. So you have to stop sharing and then.
Okay, just a minute. Yeah.
Do you see it in presentation mode?
Yes, perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay. Okay, go to next slide, please. So, yes, my name is Roland Sauziņš and I work for Nature Conservation Agency as regional director. And it's an agency who ensures implementation of nature conservation policy in a whole country. And here in slide, you see Latvia and protected areas, what we have. Actually, my background is forestry, but I have worked all my life in nature conservation, and I am with Nature Conservation Agency since beginning. So we started 19 years ago. And our agency is under Ministry of Environment. So it's a governmental institution. Next slide, please. And I start so that I introduce you shortly with Nature Conservation Agencies, and we go a little bit more about the protected areas in Latvia, and then, of course, forests. We will cover also forest issues. So we have quite many functions. We are a little bit more than 100 people working in agency. Quite small stuff, but yeah, and a lot of tasks. And what we do, we management, we can partly, yeah, we are managers of protected areas in Latvia, not everywhere. And also we work a lot of with protection planning and promotion of those management plans. And we do implement scientific research in areas. And we cooperate a lot with authorities, with local authorities, municipalities, with tourism entrepreneurs, and different other organizations. We also work a lot with implementation of CITES Convention. If you are not familiar, it is CITES Convention. It is Convention on International Trade of Endangered Species. So it's an international work and education and awareness raising in society. It's also very, very important task of our agency. And of course, law enforcement. We have a little bit more than 20 rangers around country, and also a lot of paperwork. We issue different permits, conclusions, opinions, and a lot of documents. Actually, every day, 10 to 20 different documents I have to sign. Next, please. And we have almost 700 protected areas in Latvia, and 333 of them are Natura 2000 sites. So it's very nice figure, 333. So 333 areas. And I hope you know what is Natura 2000. I don't have to repeat. Next slide. But if maybe it's a lot, these 700 areas or 333 Natura 2000 areas, but if we talk about total size, and we see what is in EU, so it's not, we are somewhere in, and at the end of total area of Natura 2000 sites in Latvia. So average is 16%, and we have a little bit less than 12% of country are covered by Natura 2000 sites. And I have to remind that half of Latvia is covered by forests. So quite many areas, protected areas we have in the forests. Okay, next one. Land owners of protected areas are mainly is state, and no, sorry, not state, but other owners. So it's private, mainly private or legal entities. State takes less than half, and main private landowner on the state part is state, that is stock company Latvijas State Forests, Latvijas Valsts Meži. Almost 1/3 of protected areas are in their hands, and the Ministry of Environmental Protection and Regional Development is manager of just 8% of all protected areas. And so ministry has given to our agency this management of protected areas. So it's not ministry who implements manager, but the ministry is owner. We are just managers. And what we manage, it is national parks and nature reserves when I talk about our agency. But these figures is except marine areas, which we have a lot more. But marine areas, of course, they are also on. We can say waters are state waters, but this is mainland figures. Next one. Categories of protected nature territories in Latvia. Of course, our main areas, we can say, are national parks. We have 4 national parks, and Gaui National Park is oldest and largest national park. What we have, it is established already in 1973 as second national park within Soviet Union. Estonians can be proud. They have first one. It is Lahemaa National Park, which celebrated this year already 50 years of anniversary. But we have a lot of other protected areas, nature reserves, protected landscape areas, nature parks, and etc. And we have also quite many protected areas we call in Latvia as micro reserves, but it is just our terminology. They are not so micro, because micro reserve could be also up to, could be 200 hectares large. But same time, I know in Scandinavia, national park could be also 100 hectares large. So we are small country, but we are very proud of, or how to say that 200 hectares, it's still micro reserve. Okay, next slide, please. And it is just division how we, within our agency, how we divided Latvia. So I am a manager of this area of Vidzeme regional administration. I don't know, do you see that I am moving mouse, or maybe not? So in each region, we have 1 national park. So we have 4 national parks, and every region has 1 national park. And so more than 100 people working in all areas together. So I am responsible for this light green area, which is bordering with Estonia. And yes, and I have very good contacts with Keskkonnaamet, and we cooperate a lot. So please, next slide. And now we go a little bit more about forests. And within last, I don't know how many, it's already 3-4 years, nature census has been started in Latvia. So, and first results already showing that distribution of forest habitats of EU importance are what are found now after this nature census is concentration is already in existing protected areas. So darker places shown where is Slītere National Park, Kemeri National Park, or Gauja National Park. So it shows that our national parks protecting quite well those nature values. I mean forests in this content. Yeah. Next one, please. And if we see this share of forest habitat types of EU importance inside Natura 2000 site and outside Natura 2000 sites. So it shows that the main, quite a lot of biotopes are outside of Natura 2000 sites. So light one is outside, sorry, it's in Latvian, but dark green, it is inside, biotopes inside Natura 2000, and light is outside of Natura 2000 sites. And 9010, which is boreal forests and some other quite big proportion of area are outside of Natura 2000 sites. So it means that we have to work to improve our Natura 2000 network in Latvia. Next, please. And area by forest habitat type of EU importance, it shows that mainly we have, I don't know how familiar you are with codes, but nowadays we use more and more codes, not full names, but 9010, it is boreal forests. And 91D, it is Urvaini measure, it is like wetland forests, we can say. So its biggest parts of them are this main types of forest of EU importance. Next one, please. And distribution of forest habitat protected by EU importance by type of ownership shows that the biggest part, or 70 or almost 80%, are in state hands, and if I talk about state, it is Ministry of Environmental Protection, Regional Development, Ministry of Defense, but biggest part is in the Ministry of Agriculture. And if we talk about Ministry of Agriculture, then I talk about the stock company Latvijas valsts meža, which are managing 95% of all forests within the state land. So 95% from the 76% are managed by state stock company Latvijas valsts meža. And the municipality or a private is next one is 12%, and municipality and legal entities just 6%. So it is in state hands mainly. Okay, next one. And in next slide, we talk about quality of EU importance. And red is low, very low quality. Next is medium. Yellow is good, and green is excellent quality. So here, if we look through all those habitat types, here we see very well where we have to work more, and maybe some biotopes as 9070, it's already most of them are very excellent quality, but some of them not so. So of course, what we need this greener part should be bigger, but actually half, yes, this yellow part is also quite good one, and 50% of all areas are in good quality, and just 6% are excellent quality, and one third goes is medium quality. Next one. I don't know what about other countries, what is situation, but EU has started a case against Latvia concerning Habitat Directive and Natura 2000 network, that we have to still work to improve Natura 2000 network, and it is particularly about one biotop is this first one, 9080 Staignāju meži. So it is a kind of wetland forests, and it is our homework. And if we not close this case within coming years, so you know, Latvia state has to pay some. I don't know how big, but that is our homework. And now ministry together with agency now to work to close this case, to improve Natura 2000 network. And but before we do some enlargement of the Natura 2000 network, before we include some new areas, we can also do also some other steps, like okay, let's go to next slide. And what is first what we have to do, we have to include in protected areas. You remember that table, that slide with quality assessment, and of course excellent should be protected as a first part, and look for those habitats with excellent assessment. And next one is that we have to that protection should be okay to reduce these restrictions on economical activity, because we understand, of course, we understand that every new restrictions, it's also some impact on our economy. So, and try to not to make bigger impact on private landowners, and so that to reduce also to need this compensation from budgets, EU budget or public budget, it doesn't matter, but it's again additional money. So this idea that protected areas should be developed mainly on public owned land. Next one, please. And habitats in protected areas, they shall not be destroyed even in areas where it is allowed, because in our protected area system is so that every area has different category. And in some areas, for example, national park, some areas are very strictly protected, some areas almost no any restrictions. But anyway, totally it is Natura 2000 site. But anyway, all habitats should be protected, even it is allowed to do some economical activities. And all habitats should be managed within in protected areas to improve their quality. We have to go to direction of this, mainly to this yellow-green quality assessment. Okay, next one, please. And in some areas, we have those habitat concentration sites, and this, of course, those concentration sites should be protected as a priority, and including existing and on potential future areas. And very, very important that do not carry any economical activities on habitat areas until we have completed Natura 2000 network. Otherwise, we try to improve Natura 2000 network, but same time values we losing. So that is a kind of compromise where we have to find how to keep these values within our already existing Natura 2000 network and protected areas. Actually, what I didn't mention from beginning, that almost all protected areas, I would say some 98% of country, so it is Natura 2000 sites. And if I take from opposite side, all Natura 2000 sites are protected areas in Latvia, micro-reserves or nationally designated protected areas. So it means that we have this kind of coverage of governmental protection of all Natura 2000 sites. Okay, thank you. Next slide, yeah, and balance. What we have to find this balance between nature conservation and needs from private owners, needs from state needs. Yeah, that is what we are looking forward, and it's one of our goals. Thank you so far. Still, I have some minutes for questions if you may have. Now you can, I think you can close the presentation.
Thank you very much, Roland. Please, any questions from the audience?
If no questions, maybe what was...
I think there is one hand raised.
Okay, sorry, yeah.
Catalonia.
Yes. Yes, it seems you have a very good organization for nature conservation. I have two questions. What is PA category?
What category?
PA category.
PA, it is protected areas. Sorry, it's
Okay,
protected areas.
you.
Yeah, sorry. It's just my acronym. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, and habitat concentration sites.
Concentration sites, it is where habitats or biotopes are concentrated. They are very next to each other, very close to each other. So these areas we call as concentration sites of biotopes or habitats. So it is not just, they are not connected. They are maybe some distance in between. So we try to put attention to those areas because values are very close to each other. Maybe different biotopes. Maybe it's not one biotope type. Maybe different biotope types, but they are in close vicinity. That's why we call these concentration sites.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Roland, I have a quick question.
Yeah, do it. Let's go.
Do you think in 5 or 10 years we will have a more rational compensation system for private forest owners? As you showed, it's only 12% in private forests, and that's something, you know, all this hot potato issue. It has been for many years, but do you think it will, in a way, be more compensating for the forest owners, or it is unlikely that we go in that direction? What do you think from your perspective?
Mm-hmm. What I can say, I do hope. I hope it will be real compensation system. We used to have, actually, some 10 years ago, we got such compensation ways that private owners were they were compensated full market price of forest lands. It worked for maybe 2, maximum 3 years, but because started this crisis in 2008, this compensation system stopped. But up to then, from 2006 to 2008, I think it was very good because we paid really, each tree was measured, it was estimated what is price, and full compensation was paid. And people still have their forests, their land, and yeah, just price was paid. But yeah, I know this price. What is now it's actually it is very, very low, and it's, I would say it's not fair. And I know there are negotiations between ministries, and also Nature Conservation Agency also supports compensation system which pays yeah, all losses what might have private owners, of course. I don't know, Grigory,
I think there is.
because you freeze in my screen. Okay, now it's okay.
Excellent, Roland. I think, Roland, you probably need to go. Maybe we.
Yes,
sorry,
sorry.
there is one hand raised. So.
Yeah, but just very, very short because I have to run to next
Okay.
another switched meeting. Yeah, sorry. Thomas.
Yeah, yes, Thomas Nordskjöld, Sweden. My question is related to you about the measures done, that you can say the conservation or the considerations that is done on other areas, not formally protected areas. I mean, in ordinary forest.
Sorry, I didn't got your question.
Yeah, my question is if forest owners need to take some conservation care,
Yes.
also in areas which are just ordinary forest, not at all protected areas.
Yes, we have measures what should be followed by all forest owners, not because of protected areas. We have forest law, and under forest law there is we can nature conservation, not kind of measures what should be taken in account when any forest owner do kind of management. And some nature protection issues are also included there. For example, as leaving ecological trees or leaving some wet places not cut. So it is not just because of protected areas, but just in commercial forests. Measures what could be taken also in commercial forests.
Yeah,
So,
it sounds like Sweden, I should say.
Quite similar, yes. I would say, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for helping us out and participating in this seminar. And thank you very much. And I hope you can still make it on the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Good luck with your seminar. Yeah, okay. Thanks. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thomas, I may continue a little bit to your question. Yes, we have, they are not so strict, so to speak, but we do need to leave 5 trees per hectare. Those trees need to be larger diameters than that an average tree on that compartment. Owner can choose what tree species he leaves. It's up to him. So some people leave pine. Some people who don't want to make more money out of the forest leave maybe some aspen, which in my opinion is not very good idea. But it's a freedom there, certain freedom, and in theory, we should also leave these ant houses and a tree next to it, or if there is some springs, we need, I think it was 10 meters around the spring, and around streams. If we have, for example, some hill where there are foxholes or something like this, some animals living, then we should leave those alone. But it is not always very much checked, and it really it's on the conscience of forest owner, conscience of logging company. But in principle, the regulations require to do these things when you do the harvesting in your forest. Things like that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I think it was Yasha.
Yes, I have one question. It's not related to this topic. It's not relevant for others, but it's not a problem if they listen. I'm really interested in those temporary forest roads. We were listening last week, the presentation of Lisa Abizare from National Services. Is possible to give me a contact of her or any other responsible person that I can contact them directly? If you can text me in a chat or something, if possible.
Okay, I put her email.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
If that is okay. You mean this wood?
This
temporary roads made of wood.
Yes.
Yeah, it's actually. I can say that very few. I think only State Forest Management Company, maybe on some occasion somebody else, but only they have used these roads.
Yeah, it's not a problem. It's like mini harvesters. It's nice example what can be done.
Yeah,
it's not doesn't need to be done 100% of everything, but it's nice example of good practice.
Yes, the issue is the cost.
Yeah, of course.
And often it is still cheaper to get the forwarders through and then bring an excavator and flatten it out. And if like in a cooperative, when we work with private forest owners, there have been cases when, okay, this due to weather conditions, the forwarder will do, we understand it will do some damage to the soil, and there is no way to escape that. Maybe it's very rainy autumn or something, but for the forest owner to fix the problem with excavator later and not pay the price for renting this. Yes, Mara has already sent you an
email. Yeah, thank you very much. I have it. Great.
Yeah, we will have another speaker from Conservation Agency, and as you understand, it is a hot topic because and next presentation will be about nature census. What I am not happy, and when I was in my 20s, I was for a few years also in one green organization as a member. I was very interested in saving the planet and making the world a better place from the environmental point of view. And we do these searches for some environmental values in private forest. We do these inventories, and they come as a campaign from the state side, and this takes place in absence of normal compensation to private forest owners. So private forest owners know that it's like a lottery. If they come to your forest and they look at the database, they search where some potential values could be, and then they come to your forest, and if they find it, then practically, if it is a spruce or pine forest ready for cutting, you can get maybe 15,000 euro per hectare value out of it, and then you regenerate, and then you continue with your forestry work. But if these biotope searchers find something valuable in your forest, then they put the restriction, and you get maybe 100 euro per year instead of that 15,000 that you could take if that has not happened. So what private forest owners do in such a case, and they very logically, they find somebody who can say, okay, this is a risky compartment, that is a risky compartment, let's cut it down before that biotope searcher comes. And in my opinion, a lot of potentially valuable compartments in private forests have been harvested to avoid being listed, and to avoid the searchers finding something in your own property. That's inevitable side effect of such situations when private forest owners are affected by nature protection legislation, which is not accompanied with a rational compensation system, and that's a sad thing. And in a cooperative, we have seen these people who come and say, please look at my compartment data. Do I have some risky compartments? And if I do, please harvest them, and to avoid my compartments being listed in nature value. So that's a bit tricky and hot topic, and a lot of public discussion going on around it. But and I don't know if there is no light at the end of the tunnel. Actually, we would be very happy that these areas are all in state forest, and private forest owners are not. And problem is that in Latvia, if you have a big nest, and in that big nest some important bird is living, then even if you have this area created and that bird no longer lives, he has not been there for 5 years, and that nest maybe is also not there anymore, still you cannot get rid of the restrictions, because the state's position very often is that that bird, if he was there 5 years ago, he may come back sometime in the future, and you get these 100, I think maximum it was 160, if nothing is allowed at all per hectare, but you cannot harvest this forest which has a certain value in the wood. So that's if I may sketch out a little bit in the times that we had available. Okay.
Grigoris, if I may, I just say that we have exactly the same problem in Estonia, 100% the same problem. And of course, you can say that the compensations are not enough, but actually we also have to think that where do the compensations come from? We cannot compensate protecting 100% of our forests. For example, a few years ago, I met with a Norwegian forester, and I think at that time they had 4% of forest land under very strict restrictions. And they said that they are not so rich in Norway to protect more. But yeah, I guess we are richer than Norway.
Yes. The state has certain obligations, and of course, nature protection is necessary and good thing, but problem is that it's not the forest owner's choice. Forest owner he should be the one to set the priorities on his property, whether he wants to maximize money or whether he wants to have a nice scenery or landscape, and whether he is interested in nature protection and manages his property for the nature protection. That should be his choice. Today, the choice is state, but the bill has to be paid by the owner, and that's not correct in my opinion. Okay, I think we can take a 15 minutes break, and then Estonians will have one presentation, and then we take over again at 12 o'clock. Okay, thank you very much all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now let's continue with nature protection topics. So I will talk about the Natura 2000 compensation measures. But I will also talk about a little bit more besides Natura 2000 compensation measure. Okay, I will try to share the screen. Do you see? I guess you don't see the full screen. Do you see it now?
Yes.
Yes, now it's perfect.
Mm-hmm. So I am Divya Pošlin from Estonian Private Forest Center. And as I introduce the topic, I will start. I'll talk about forest land on Natura 2000 area. And so there is totally about 1,480,000 hectares of Natura 2000 network in Estonia. And Estonia's Natura 2000 forest land area is 360,000 hectares, which is about 16% of total forest land area. And Estonia's Natura 2000 private forest land area is 89,000 hectares, which is 8.1% of private forest land area. And the whole area of private forest land is 1.1 million hectares. I'm trying to switch the slides, but it doesn't work for me somehow.
Kasuta all neid nuppe arvutil.
Kusjuures ma teen seda. Okay, now it changed, I hope. So I guess we all know what is the purpose of Natura 2000 network, but let's go over it again. The purpose is to ensure the protection of rare or endangered birds, animals, plants, and their habitats. And the purpose of this compensation for private forest owners is to compensate for the private forest owners the loss of economic income due to nature protection restrictions from the forest that is located in that network. How private forests look like on this Natura 2000 network area? There are more pine stands comparing to other private forests. There's less hardwoods. There are less hardwood stands, and especially gray alder stands. And forests are older than an average private forest land that has no forest yet on, and young stands are less than 10% of the area. And maturing and already mature forests are more than half of the area. Spruce, aspen, and alder stands are mature more than half of the territory. And when looking at the site-specific distribution, then compared to average again, then mostly there are represented alder forests that are on top on the left, and peatland forests on top of on the right, and there are less nemoral forests. Now, this compensation, how to apply. Applications are being accepted and processed by Estonian Private Forest Center, and but the money is paid by other organization called Agricultural Registers and Information Board. 75% of the finances come from EU and 25% from state budget. And applications must be resubmitted each year. The rates. So there are two rates, 60 euros and 110 euros per hectare per year. 60 euros is paid in limited management zone, in limited conservation area and planned area that are in Natura 2000 network, and conservation zone. There are more strict requirements, less management can be done or nothing at all. And this is the rate is 110 euros per hectare in Natura 2000 network, but also outside of Natura 2000 network. And the compensation also is subject to income tax, which is 20%. But from 2020 up to 5,000 euros is subject to a tax exemption for income that is earned from forest, including this compensation Natura 2000. So if forest owners receive compensation, then they are not taxed in the amount of 5,000 euros. So why I added this slide here, there was a recent news that there will be new national support for forest owners whose forest sites are in limited management zone, where the rate was 60 euros per hectare per year, and now they are now they're planning to compensate also those forest owners whose whose limited management zone is outside of Natura 2000 network. So yes, now it should be more fair for everyone, that it doesn't matter if their forest is on or outside Natura 2000 forest network area, they all get compensated with the same rates. And this new national support concerns about 1,000 forest owners and 14,000 hectares of forest. And there's this budget is 1.1 million euros. Last year, what were the numbers last year about this Natura compensation eligible area of Natura 2000 private forest was 80,000 hectares. So this is the area that the forest owners can apply for subsidy. It was applied less, 67,800 hectares, and the support was granted for even less, 65,800 hectares. So this is the area that the final area after the checks, the controls in the office and also on forest sites by controllers. And there were almost 5,000 applications submitted. Budget was 4.4 million, but it wasn't enough. So the limited zone rate, which should have been 60 euros, which is 60 euros, had to be reduced to 51.63 euros. This is the overview, how many applications have been submitted from 2014 till 2020. Some years they have submitted less, some years more than 5,000, but the average is about 5,000 or a bit less applications each year. The same graphic about how many hectares have been submitted, and from till 2014 2019 the eligible forest area has been grown a bit each year. On 2019 it was 88,000 hectares, and also the submitted area has grown a bit, but it's always about 20,000 hectares less than the eligible area is. So what are the requirements for applicants? The owner has to be, an applicant has to be owner until the end of the year when he or she submitted the application. And if there are co-owners, then they all have to give permission for one owner, or they can also submit joint application. But in both cases, the money is being transferred to one co-owner. And an applicant, of course, has to comply with the requirements of the Nature Conservation Act and the Forest Act. And an applicant must make sure that the forest borders points are visually identifiable in nature in his or her forest. And this was all. So that was about Natura 2000 forest land compensation. There's also another compensation for forest owners. This is support for key habitats. If forest owner has a key habitat area in their forest, then they have a right or opportunity to get some subsidy for it. But first, what is key habitat? This is an area in a forest where there's a high probability of the occurrence of narrowly adapted, endangered or rare species. And in state forest, this protection of key habitats is compulsory, but it's voluntary in private forests. And if a forest owner wants to protect a key habitat in his or her forest, then he can enter into a formal agreement with the state for 20 years, and the forest owner and the state then agree that the owner will not manage the valuable part, so that key habitat part of the forest, and the state will compensate for the loss of income. So what the forest owner can't do after there's this agreement, The forest owner shouldn't remove any down timber from the forest, shouldn't make any drainage into the forest, shouldn't construct forest roads, reforestate, even camp or make fire, and definitely shouldn't deforestate the forest, shouldn't cut any trees. And by so far, the average amount of the compensation has been 364 euros per hectare per year. And in total, there is registered 24,800 hectares of key habitat area in Estonia. And 90% of the key habitat area is located in private forest land. Here's a little table of the budget for the key habitat compensation. And as we can see, it has increased in recent years. So this was the second support for forest owners who have some nature protection, whose forest is in Natura 2000 forest land, or who has key habitat areas in their forest. I have spoken 15 minutes. I also thought about showing you or introducing you one live IP project where Estonian Private Forest Center is a partner. There are many other partners too. And this is a very, this project is about nature conservation. I will just read out the purposes of the project. To protect and restore traditional Estonian landscapes and the ecosystems, and to improve the condition of species in both public and private forests and their habitats, and to modernize the nature conservation management and information system, and promoting general environmental awareness, individual and community-based environmental protection. And it's a long project, lasts for 10 years. It just started, and it has lots of different activities, 66 of them. Roughly, they are divided into 6 areas: forests, semi-natural communities, environmentally friendly agriculture, species, environmental awareness, nature conservation management, and information system. And what is our role, Estonian Private Forest Center's role in this project? We're in one work package that is about planning of private forest measures in protected areas. So 2 tasks in that work package. One is analysis and renewal of Natura 2000 private forest support, because it's considered maybe a bit old or not that efficient anymore. So it needs to be updated. So it would be more fair as for forest owners, for what should be more efficient in regarding to nature protection. So we need to, work with it, analyze it, and make it better in the future. In the maybe in the next program period. And another task is development of an active forest measure to improve the conservation status of forest habitats and species. So, which means to give, to make more new support, which would give forest owners a more active role, so they could protect the nature values in their forest, because Natura 2000 support is given for owners, so they would not do anything in their forest. But this new support would be the opposite, that they would do something actively, and they would increase the value, nature value in their forest. And there are some of the things that we have been done in this project by so far. First, first thing we did was we made a little short questionnaire for forest owners, for Natura 2000 forest owners, and try to map the satisfaction and future wishes about this support, and about their vision about for future nature conservation support. And this input that we got, we didn't receive many answers, but we received enough so this would be an input into a bigger survey that is planned to be done next year. We also did a think tanks event, organized think tanks event. Due to COVID-19, it was done online, and we tried to. So we were brainstorming which techniques that promote nature protection should be supported in Estonia. So those new active support techniques, and we we gathered 20 techniques and just wrote down some of them. For example, closure of ditches as complete wetland, diversification of stand through planting, creation of landscape mosaic by felling, preservation of burned forests. And there are 15 other techniques as well, and we need to figure out which select the ones we want to continue with, and perhaps yes, take it into use. Actually, I have done my presentation quite fast, so I will continue. This is I wasn't sure how long does it take for me, so I have some slides about climate warming as well, and how does it impact Estonia's forests. As warming is thought to occur primarily in the north and not in the equator areas, then environmental conditions are changing more in northern forests. So in Estonian forest, there will be increase in an average air temperature, increase in average winter air temperature, higher rainfall during the growing season, shortening of snow-covered winter, more frequent storms, more frequent droughty summers, higher maximum temperatures, possible extreme low temperatures in winter. Of conifers, pine will probably adapt best to new conditions, and the proportion of spruces in our forests may decrease significantly. And what changes in the daily lives of forest inhabitants? Many birds that will winter here many birds will winter here instead of migrating to south. Game that has turned white in winter, such as the white rabbit, is more visible to the species hunting it, and their numbers will be declining. If there is little snow, then wild boars have better access to food, and their numbers are increasing. Also, the reindeer deers and roe deers will be doing better due to lack of snow. Moose needs a cooler temperature for living, so their condition will be worsened. And also the number of its food competitors is also rising. The condition of ringed seals will be worsened because of lack of ice. So the ice is necessary for giving birth. And the hibernation of bears, common raccoon, dogs, and badgers shortens. And the common raccoon, dogs, and the badgers therefore compete more fiercely for food. We predict the arrival of new species from the south to Estonia. For example, there is raccoon already in Lithuania. Now this is the last final slide. Thank you for listening. This is a little question that which combines all these different species. Maybe some Estonian would know, who is very interested in the nature and is following the media, what's been done every year. I can tell you the answer. So these are the year of the makers. So like the year of the tree juniper, 2021, the year of the bird common starling, and some mushrooms, some butterfly, fish, and so on. So they all are the doers, or the of the year 2021. Okay. Hello. Does anyone have questions?
Well, congratulations for Estonian forest owners, because you have a compensation system that it sounds very good. I would be glad if in Catalonia we had half a thing that is half as good of that. Okay, you are very, very lucky.
Yes, thank you.
If there are currently no more questions, I actually have a question for our listeners. Firstly, thank you, Olivia, for making a presentation about mainly how the state compensates the nature protection. But I have a question: if in some of your countries there are some private compensations, whatever sort, for nature protection. If there are any, please let us know. I think no one has anything to say about that. So I guess private nature protection is not very widespread in the moment yet.
Yes, I'm not sure if I'm the right person to answer for Slovenia, but I guess that we have mostly non-compensation for Natura 2000 sites and so on. We have kind of a lot of free, but it's the same for the whole forest owners, that all the management is done for free, the management plans and so on. And free seats and so on. So we have no, but there would be really nice that we would have them, yes, like in your place. But for the strictly where there is no management allowed, there is tendency that the forests are state-owned. That we don't have that problems.
Maybe someone else have more questions? No, no questions. Okay. Would we like to have a longer break, about half an hour break before the next presentation?
But it is lunchtime in our time zone, so I guess a longer break will do very well.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And let's see you in 27 minutes.
Thank you.
Bye.
Grigori, you are muted.
Sorry. Okay, I hope everybody has made it back from the break, and we have our second speaker from Latvia and second speaker from Nature Conservation Agency of Latvia, Jakobs Zenis, and the topic that he will cover is nature census. Please, Jakobs, I noticed you are there.
Yes, hello to everyone. I will try to share my screen. So let me know if that is working or not.
It's working perfectly.
Yeah. You see it full screen, yeah?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so first of all, thanks to the organizers for scheduling my presentation, and I hope it didn't cause a lot of inconvenience for the organizers and the participants. And yes, Grigori told, I will talk about the nature census, which was a big project in nature conservation implemented in Latvia and still is in the implementation phase. But we have already some big and first results. About me, myself, my name is Jakub Zenis, so I'm working for this Nature Conservation Agency of Latvia. As I know, Roland told a bit more about this agency, but currently me, myself, I'm working for two life projects, Latvia Nature and Life for Species. I will tell very shortly about them at the end of the presentation. But regarding this nature census project, I was also involved as an expert of forest habitats in this process. And yeah, nature census, as I told, is a big project for Latvia, but that's just the short name. Actually, the full name is Preconditions for Better Biodiversity Preservation and Ecosystem Protection in Latvia. And it was co-founded by the European Cohesion Fund, as well as the government of Latvia. Well, the main goals of this project was to perform the inventory of habitats of EU importance in the whole country. And it was done in 6 habitat types, the seaside and dunes, caves and outcrops, grasslands, swamps, forests, and rivers and lakes. And it was the first time ever to do this kind of inventory on the whole country. Before that, we had made smaller projects or projects focusing on one particular habitat or type of, for example, woodland key habitat mapping that was done some 20 or more years ago, or the mapping was done when the management plan of some particular protected territory was made. But yeah, so the first time when it was done in the full country. The second goal was to develop management plans for 25 Natura 2000 sites, and including 2 national parks. And as Roland told you earlier today, we have only 4 national parks in Latvia, and these are the biggest territories. You can imagine that this also was a very challenging job, and it's still ongoing. The development of these management plans for the national parks, and some other territories were also very challenging, with a lot of interests colliding, and yeah. And the third goal was to develop management plans for 5 species or groups of species that included 2 bat species, group of woodpecker species, old species, and seals. And all of them are the species that we see as, so to say, conflict species, where it's in case of woodpeckers and owls, you see the conflict between the forestry and the nature conservation. In case of seals, the conflict between the nature conservation and the fishery interests. So very important species for which such management plans have to be developed and after development also implemented. And regarding the project progress, those management plans are developed for the species. The process of development of management plans for Natura 2000 sites are still ongoing. And the habitat inventory is done, but we are still analyzing the results and digitalizing some of the data. About the habitat inventory, I will focus more in my presentation. And in this map, you can see, well, this is the map of Latvia. The whole country was divided in 12.5 squares, with each side 12.5 kilometers. And the habitat inventory took place in 4 years. So the yellow ones are the ones in 2017 when we started. And the green ones was mapped in 2020 when when we finished this mapping exercise. Also, each square was then further divided in 20, as we call those, worksheets. And this division between the years and regionally was made taking into consideration the development of management plans for territories, and as well as to somehow distribute those territories evenly, so that the experts living somewhere in the southern part of Latvia, maybe it's possible for him to take part in this project in all 4 years, and in a way that he doesn't have to travel across the whole country in one of those years. As you can imagine, like mapping the habitats in the whole country in just 4 years takes a lot of experts to be involved, and of course, it's a big challenge. It was a big challenge for Latvia. In total, there were more than 350 experts involved in this process. And as you can imagine, those experts are not sitting in their jobs waiting for this 4-year project and then quitting their jobs and doing just this inventory. So for a lot of people, it was a side job. It was for some, it was the main one, and one very good result also from it is the new experts we got out of this process. Each year before the season started, there were mandatory trainings for the experts. We call them calibration seminars, and also before this project started, also special training for the new students and nature conservation specialists that wanted to work in this project. And at the beginning, they could work only together with the certified expert, but if they had very good knowledge and proved themselves, they had the possibility to become certified and work on their own, and that was what happened. We had I don't have the precise number, but more than around 20 more certified experts, and that's a very good result, I think. But of course, it was not possible only with Latvian experts, so we had help from Lithuania, Estonia, and Belarus, with the experts coming in and working here to map habitats. Like similar, it was happening before Latvia when Lithuania implemented similar project, and then also Latvian experts were going to Lithuania and working there and helping to implement the project. So it's next is Estonia, as we can predict. Yeah, but before we could send the experts to the field, it was, of course, a lot of work done to prepare all the information. And thanks to the excellent data team that we have in Nature Conservation Agency, it was possible to combine and to collect and combine a lot of useful information that is necessary for this job to be done, and it was again a very big challenge, because the data holders are very different, their systems are very again different, and it's challenging to combine those data. But so what we did is we tried to collect whatever we can that could help the experts, and doing some sort of I could say modeling to really select those sites where experts should go. It would be nonsense to send them, just give them direction and go and find some habitat. So we made this so-called modeling to select sites where there is higher probability of nature values to be found, or there were some previous inventory being done and some nature values found. These were like mandatory places where expert has had to go, and if he couldn't find habitat there, he had to like make a short report. What's the reason? Whether the forest is cut or what other is the reason. Then there was those territories where there is high potential of some nature values, and in this the biggest map, if you can see my my cursor, it's those are the yellow ones. In those places, considering the soil type or the previous management or the age of the stand, there was higher potential that there is some nature values, and expert had to go there, but he could decide not to go if he sees some other information or sees information that there is no habitat. For example, maybe a new orthophoto is coming, satellite image is coming out, and then you can see that there is a clear cut, so no sense to go there. And if a habitat was found, it was one more thing about this modeling and job before the visiting. We also excluded those territories where mapping was done a few years before, and these survey forms were filled. So again, to save resources, wouldn't be a good idea to send experts there. Or there was some other survey made and habitats mapped, and yeah, it was also or planned activities with permits already issued. So these territories were excluded, or also if there was information on in different date systems that the management type of particular territories is not good for the habitat, or it's not possible that the habitat is there, or some other nature values. Yeah, and the forms, like if every time when a habitat was found, an expert had to make these fill these habitat forms. There were for separate form for each habitat type, and even for bogs and meadows, there were several forms of almost not for each, but for maybe 2 or 3 habitats, one type of form, and then for 2 other types of habitats, another form. But in case in forest, there was one form. And what the expert was filling in these forms was he was evaluating the structure of the forest, the stand, the functions, describing the vegetation, description of the vegetation on the ground, as well as the stand, what species are, what is the coverage of them. Then regarding the structure, for example, is it one age or mixed age stand, or is there dead wood in different forms or types, signs of previous wood fires, or signs of some umbrella species like woodpeckers, and yeah, that's for the structures. And for the functions, for example, is the hydrology good for the particular habitat? Are there any signs of previous management, and etc. And also the indicator and specialist species of woodland habitats had to be indicated, as well as the protected species, both Latvian and national and of EU concern. And this was also it's very good information that we had about these, we received about these species, because, well, the main aim was the mapping of habitats, that this information that was indicated in these forms will help us in future also to reevaluate the status of some of the species. Are they endangered? Whether they should be protected or not. And in total, in this project, we received 120,000 habitat forms. Regarding forests, what experts was doing in the 12 types of forests was in the methodology for them, and 40 subtypes of these forest habitats. Those are the ones that are present in Latvia, and I'm not sure how familiar you are with these acronyms or numbers of habitats. So these are, of course, from the European legislation of the European Union, and like the type like taiga forests or boreal forests, there were 5 different subtypes that the expert had to divide the habitat if he found it. And there were differences between these types and subtypes, also regarding the pristineness or naturalness of the forest. I think probably you are aware about this woodland key habitat methodology that is common in some Scandinavian countries, or at least in some. And there are habitats that we indicate as protected habitats only if they are also woodland key habitats or potential woodland key habitats, like the typical taiga forests or typical deciduous forests. So there were high standards to map those habitats. And at the same time, some other ones like coniferous forests on eskers. For those, the quality standards were a bit lower, and the geology and vegetation was between the main factors to really map this habitat, which would not be possible for boreal forest or some other. And the same with the coastal dune forests. So this is also actually very important when we are discussing or seeing the evaluation of on type level, because you have to remember that boreal forest consists of 4 different subtypes, and each has different different level of pristineness to be indicated as habitat. Fieldwork and challenges. It was, of course, one thing is to make those maps and to somehow try to predict where you will go, how it will look, and how much time it will take. But nature is nature, and it's different always, especially in Latvia case, where we have a lot of beavers that can change your track tremendously, because you just cannot cross some place where you thought you could. And also the weather was in some cases not very friendly to us. Like in the first season in Latgale region, we had very heavy rainfalls just before, few weeks before the end of the mapping season for meadows. And for meadows, the mapping season is a lot shorter than for forests. And it was just end of the season, few weeks before, because of the rain and the flood that came after the rain made it impossible to really map those territories. So that is just one example how the weather affected our plants and yeah. One more interesting challenge that we were facing and have to be noted is the proper involvement of landowners. To do so, we made a decision to inform all the landowners in whose property we are planning to do this mapping exercise in each year by sending them letters. And in this graph, you can see the amount of letters sent each year. So in the second season, it was 62,000 letters sent. Of course, it was done by a special program and outsourced. But anyway, that's a lot of letters made and a lot of people informed about the project. So the aim of the first information was to inform that this project is happening. It will, the expert will probably come to your property. If you want some more information, you can receive it here and there, or you can also just call to the project team, and you can also take part in this process. Some people used it, some not, and the second time when we informed the landowners was after the inventory was done and after the control team had accepted the results. That is an important part. Also, like we had these experts working in the field, but we also had a control team that was doing control, checking the forms, and then if necessary, and checking also in the nature. Like the forms were checked, 100% of all the forms were checked, and 20% of all the territory was checked again by the control team. And about the feedback, of course, it differed a lot. But in this graph, you can see the incoming calls and requests, both official requests and emails that we received. And this is just the project team that made this counting. I know that a lot of colleagues that were working for the Nature Conservation Department at that time also received those calls from landowners and other interested persons, but of course didn't count all these calls and emails. And the feedback very different. There were people very angry about this process, even sending threats that the expert cannot come to his property, even though it's set in the national legislation that he can. And there were also people very interested in the process who wanted to go with the expert to learn from him, to learn what is in their properties. Some other ones wanted to go with the expert to sort of control. They didn't really trust the experts. And I think a bit, well, maybe funny or not story, but there was also one very big enterprise working in the field of forestry who also were interested to go with the experts. And after 2 days, they realized that that's really difficult job the experts are doing, and they can trust, and then that's it. They didn't want to go anymore. And the same, their feedback was also very different after the results were shown sent to the landowners. Some were very angry about it. Some were very interested and proud that there is habitat found in their property and wanted to know what they should do to properly manage the site or to protect the species or the habitats what were found. And some, of course, were not interested at all in this process. And experts were, for example, in case of grasslands, it's the usual case when you have to meet the expert because the grassland is not at always, but quite often near to to their house, for example, and then you go into the property and the landowner is surprised. Well, really, there is such a project going on. Oh, you send me a letter. It's big news for me. And yeah, but of course, there were not only letters. A lot of communication was done also in public media and in seminars and etc. So after the results were accepted by the control team, we digitalized all the data, and that is available in our nature data management system UZULS, and a database connected to it, where all the information indicated in these forms is available. It's not just scanned copies of these forms, but really database containing this information in a way that you can analyze each field if you want. And yeah, as I told, 120,000 forms. And at the beginning of project, it was only paper forms available, but at the end, also in some territories, it was possible to use electronic forms, for example, for forests. But actually, for expert, it was easier to work with these paper forms. For further analysis, of course, easier if the electronic was used. And one thing what I just reminded, recalled that there was one good job our data team was this. All the maps was available for experts in ArcGIS program collector, where expert could change the layers, see the attributes about particular forest stand, or see the topographical maps or orthophoto, and this really helped the experts. And it was mandatory for expert to use it all the time while he was doing this mapping exercise. And while he was doing it, the program was also collecting points where the expert was. And this information was stored and is still available for us. So in a case when a landowner is not happy with the result and then is complaining that the expert was never there, we can check the data, the track where the expert was going, and prove whether or not expert really was in a particular place and where exactly he was. He or she, of course. Yeah. About the results, in this graph, you can see the hectares and different types of habitats. Sorry that it is in Latvian, but these are the seaside and dune habitats. And these are lakes and rivers. These are meadows and grasslands. Swamps, outcrops, and forest habitats. And as you can see, the forests, majority of the habitats were forests. As Roland's also told to this morning, 50% of the country is covered by forests, so it's not a big surprise. But also, habitat-wise, it's the biggest type of habitats. And the dark green is inside the Natura 2000 network, and lighter green is outside. But you have to also take into account it. For example, in case of forest habitats, also some 8% of these habitats are inside of microreserves. So not in the Natura, but in microreserves, and some more percent might be inside of nationally protected or territories, or maybe in the coastal area of Baltic Sea, where there is also some protection regime already in place. Ownership rights, yes, 76% owned by the state. That is something that has to be noted. Like the majority of these habitats, forest habitats, are owned by the state. and legal persons are owning just 6%, private owners 12%, and municipalities 6%. So still the majority of nature values are owned by the state. It will be very interesting to see when this graph is available also regarding the qualities, but the first results indicate that the highest quality is also owned by state. And regarding where these habitats are more concentrated in what territories, yes, we can see those big national parks like Slītere, Gauja, Ķemeri, and some smaller territories near to Riga. But yeah, the forest habitats are in the whole country, and yeah, distributed also outside of these Natura 2000 or other protected territories in quite a lot of times. Regarding different types of habitats, the biggest amount that we had was in these taiga forests or boreal forests. It was 28% of all the forest habitats that were mapped in this project. Bog forests, the second biggest category, and dune forests, the third one, and just 1% or even less was eskers or oak forests or riparian forests with ulmus glabra along the big rivers. And this is the first result about these qualities, but what has to be noted is what I already told when I first showed the different types of habitats, that the quality standards very much differ, even within one type of habitat. And another thing is that these are the qualities that were indicated by the expert in the field, considering the information he has on the site. For example, there is a boreal forest, 0.3 hectares, but good quality. But it's, of course, there is no other that type of habitat nearby, or there is clear cuts coming, forests next to it. So the future perspectives are very, very bad for this particular habitat. So this are just the evaluation what was done by the expert on site, considering just what he had, just the information he has on the site. And as I already told, the fragmentation is one of the main problems we see with these habitats. These are just two random places in Latvia outside of protected territories. The percentage of forest habitats maybe is not small here, but you can see that, for example, in this picture, almost all of them are at least on one side bordering a clear cut, which of course let us think about edge effects, about, for example, if there is more light coming in, how it affects the microclimate, how on the edges the vegetation is changing because of the species that are in this clear cut are coming in, and how the vegetation and the quality of the habitat is affected. And in some cases, you can see, like here, almost 100% of the borders are clear cuts. So also the quality is not very good, and this is not one type. There could be several types. So if we think about the species that are in these habitats, it might be the case that it's not possible for particular species to connect with another suitable habitat for it. And the same in this picture. what other than habitat data, as I told, we collected a lot of data on species, and at least 52 new species for Latvia, and a lot, not new species, but also species for which we didn't have any records for many years, or we had maybe 2 known sites, and now we have like 10 or something. So that is also a very great result. There's all 2 hill forts, for a good result for the historians who never managed to map these before us, and 12 new caves and several outcrops. That is also very good additional value. Some conclusions regarding these forests is they are highly fragmented, the edge effect, and a lot of outside of the Natura 2000 network. Notable negative effect of change hydrological effect on hydrological regime on wet forests. And it was caused both by the historical and ongoing actions. Better quality forests are within those protected areas, which is not a surprise, of course. And some of these forest types, like coastal dunes and dry boreal forests near to cities and the biggest towns, and alluvial and riparian forests are invaded by invasive species such as Melanchera spicata, Sorgos, or Impatiens gondolifera. And that is also a challenge we are facing here. It's probably everywhere else in the European Union as well. And some of the projects where we are planning to use and starting to use these results are already started. These are just few biggest ones we are involved in. One is this Latvia Nature project. It's a life integrated project in which we will set the conservation objectives for each of the species and habitats of EU concern. I will re-evaluate the Natura 2000 network and make recommendations for connectivity issues, change the system of nature of the management plans for protected territories. Also, new recommendations will come for the compensation mechanism, for example, by implementing some voluntary tools, which are not at the moment. And we are a lot of working also in the field of invasive species, firstly regarding the legislation, and also about new methods for eradication. Then the second project is Life for Species, in which we will re-evaluate the protected species and the list of endangered species of Latvia. We'll use in this process criteria from the EUCN, and at the end, there will be a new list of nationally protected species. The process how you put a species in this list of protected species will be changed, and as an information tool, this red list of Latvia will be developed. New one. There is of course one, but this will be a new one. Third is this restoration project for habitats and species in the property of state. And in this project, real works will be done in around 2,000 hectares, which will affect more than 30,000 hectares of habitats and places what are suitable for protected species. And the fourth one that is not that much using the data from nature census, but in some extent is this reef project, in which we are planning to make large research on marine environment, establishing new sites and new management plans for marine territories. So these are just a few projects in which we will use really those results. So that was it about the project. And actually, I was asked to give this presentation on behalf of Iris Samukane, who was and is the manager of this nature census project. So maybe if I didn't or will not be able to answer some of your questions, you can either send them to me or to Iris Samukane as well. Sorry, thanks.
Thank you very much, Jakobs. I think it was an excellent presentation on the topic. If I may ask the first question, what were the main challenges? You have done a great work requiring a lot of knowledgeable experts and a lot of physical work, hard in the forest in different weather conditions and so on. But what were the main challenges going through all of this from A to Z?
Yeah, like the first challenge, of course, was collecting all the data that would help the experts in the field. The systems are not compatible, and so the next one was really to. A lot of people were nervous about this process, especially in the sector of forestry, to really tell them and raise their awareness why this is necessary, what will be the results, and how we can use them. So there were a lot of negotiations going on to start this process, and in some cases these negotiations took time that we could spend in nature and do this process maybe a little bit better in sometimes. And the next one, of course, the availability of experts that I indicated. We didn't have that much experts, and a lot of experts were not interested in working in this project because they had their ordinary job and they couldn't take 4 or 3 months vacation in the summer to do the field work, and maybe also the salaries were not that high for some of those old and good experts. And and then of course all that you can my apologies. I think I lost the connection for a second.
Yeah, because we lost your voice somewhere in between.
Yeah, but well, the main idea was there were very different challenges, starting from the collection of data and to the preparation of analysis and final results.
So now after your experience, so these were your challenges in the beginning. What do you see now? How do people look on your results now?
Well, we are still in the process of making them available. So the final results will be included in the report that the Ministry of Environment has to give to the Cabinet of Ministers of Latvia with recommendations what to do. But regarding the attitudes that we receive, like municipalities, for example, were not very happy about this process at the beginning, but during it they understood that there's a lot of very useful results coming out, both the management plans and the habitat mapping that they can use, for example, in spatial planning and making the decision-making process, whether or not to allow some sort of action in their municipalities. The same people who are managing grasslands were very keen and eager to see those results as quick as possible, because they could apply for some payment from the government to keep managing this grassland. Again, biggest forestry companies, well, not all, but some were also very interested to see these results as quick as possible, because they are working in some sort of certification system, FSC or some other, and they want to do this, really want to do sustainable forestry. And they wanted to know these results and plan what they are doing in the forest. And this, for all of these organizations that I mentioned, it meant that they don't have to spend their own money. The results were made by this project, and they could already take them into account in their planning and working.
Question for you as an expert in these environmental diversity matters. How important is, we have a half country covered by forest and half of that belongs to the state, so 1/4 of territory. How important for nature protection, because a certain controversy when this nature is protected in private forests by the state. How important are these private forests? Can it mostly be protected on the state land where there is no controversy and probably will never be, but and maybe outside of the state in some more voluntary way? How can nature be protected not on 100% of the forest land, but in some kind of smaller space? Is that really possible?
Well, it's the easiest solution, of course, to protect it only in the state-owned forests, but it's not really possible, because you cannot move the particular species or the particular habitat from the private property. So also these, and in some cases, they are very excellent quality forests or species that are only in few territories in the country. So it will be necessary to also for the private owners to step in and to help to really protect the nature. But the main goals can be achieved also with the state forests, as I showed. There is 76% of all the habitats are in these state-owned forests. So it's a very important job for us and for other managers of these territories.
Please, any more questions? I think if there are no questions, Jakobs, it would be very good if you could send me this presentation for distribution to the audience. And otherwise, thank you very much for the excellent work. It was really interesting, and then we can close this part of today's program and go on a short break until even hour. Thank you very much, Jakobs. It was very good.
Thank you. And
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, hello everybody. This is our last presentation of this study tour. First, okay, so with this presentation we show videos about key habitats, about bark beetle, and mixed how to raise how to grow mixed forests. And this first video about key habitats is a good continue to my previous presentation where I already spoke a bit about key habitats. So I will turn the video on now.
Andres, me jalutame sinuga Nõmme Pera vana Karjamõisa metsas ja selle metsa kohta võib öelda 3 tähte. VEP, V-E-P. Mis asi see VEP selline on?
Tähendab vääriselupaika. Ja vääriselupaik on, ütleme, selline mets, mis on nagu tavainimesel vaadates nagu hästi siuke rämpsune ja vana ja nagu ei ole siuke kõige kenam mets, aga siin just ongi selliseid puid, mis teevadki sellest metsast vääriselupaiga. Siin on hästi palju vanu puid, siin on palju sellist jämedat lamapuitu, siin on puutüükaid ja hästi selline mitmekesine mets, kus on kõike tegelikult. Et tavaliselt majandatavas metsas on palju ühesuguseid puid, puud on nagu telefonipostid, väga ilusad, aga sellises metsas on tõesti kõike. See on nüüd üks näide siukesest surnud puust, mis tegelikult ei ole muidugi sugugi surnud. Ja siin on näha nüüd üks vääriselupaiga tunnusliik. See on see oranž, selle nimi on roostetorik.
Roostetorik?
Roostetorik ja ta on selline seen, mis kasvab, ütleme, sellisel lamapuidul, mida enne on lagundanud kännupess. Kännupess on siin ramas kõrval. Jah, siin on naabrid ja sellised seened, mis kasvavad, ütleme, teiste poolt lagundatud puidul on suhteliselt haruldased ja see on üks vääriselupaiga indikaatorliike, on see roostetorik. Aga need vääriselupaiga tunnusliigid, neid on kokku tegelikult, ütlen koos, seened, samblad, samblikud, kõik on kokku kuskil 400 ringi.
Vägev.
Ja ühes vääriselupaigas, kui juba on võimalik leida, ütleme siin 5, on juba päris hea. Näiteks üks tunnusliikidest on see sama, kus sa just mõned oleksid. Näed, ei see, siin oksa peal see väike tõust.
Nii?
See on säbrik. Mõnda asja palja silmaga ongi. Jaa, see on täiesti säbrik. Vääriselupaiga üks tüüpe on ka üksikud vanad puud, nii et ka üksik puu võib olla vääriselupaik. Aga siis ta peab tõesti olema hästi vana ja siin on jälle üks väga ilus vääriselupaiga puu. Siin vanust võiks tal olla kusagil 150, 180, kuskil selles kandis.
No see on ikka üks võimalus.
Ja peale vaadates on tõesti näha, et on soliidse puuga, kus selline krokodilli taha taoline kopp läheb ikka okste vahele välja juba. Ja see ei ole selline majandatava metsapuu ja muidugi ausalt öelda, kui mõni ütleb, et noh, nii vana puu, et võta maha, et mis sa tast hoiad, aga noh, ütleme 200-aastane mänd on võib-olla võrdne siin 40-aastase inimesega, midagi sellist. Ja. Et ei ole tal siin häda midagi, ta kasvab siin edasi küll.
Minu kodus kasvab paarkümmend pakku Auster servikut, haruharva olen ma seda seent varem looduses näinud, et seda seent saab igast hästi varustatud toidupoest väga kalli raha eest osta. Ja tema ei ole veel tegelikult siis nagu vääriselupaiga tunnus.
Ta ei ole tunnusliik, aga ta on, ütleme, läheb sinna rubriiki palju puiduseeni, eks, et ta ikkagi vääriselupaigas on hea, mida rohkem neid liike ja muidugi väga palju loeb see metsa selline üldilme, et ega siis alati ei oskagi, ütleme, inimene, kes pole seda liigiõpet nii saanud, ei saagi tähele panna, aga ta, kui on näha, et mets on ikka, et seal on tõesti kõike, seal on vanupuid, seal on lamapuitu, seal on tüükaid, seal on õõnsaid puid, siis võib arvata, et võib-olla tegu vääriselupaigaga.
Täna oleme vääriselupaiga tunnustega tutvunud erametsaomanik Tiit Linnamägile kuuluvas metsas. Kui riigi metsas on sellise ala kaitse alla võtmine kohustuslik, siis erametsaomanik saab seda teha vabatahtlikult. Tasuks metsa majandamata jätmise eest maksab riik omanikule 20-aastase perioodi jooksul kompensatsiooni. Tiit sõlmis lepingu umbes 18 aastat tagasi ja on toonase otsusega siiani rahul.
Meil on tegu suhteliselt küpse metsaga tegelikult, et see määrab selle ära, et see toetus on maksimaalne, aga samas eks see mets kukub ka ümber. Eks see põhitulu jääb võib-olla saamata, aga see on arvestatav toetus. Iga asi peab käima ikkagi nii, et proportsioon peab paigas olema. Et on noort metsa, on keskmist metsa, on kaitstatud metsa, on majandusmetsa, et kõike peab olema. Kuna ei ole mingi tagastatava metsaga tegemist, vaid ikkagi kõik tuleb erastada või soetada läbi laenu, siis tuleb sealt metsast ka midagi tagasi võtta, nii või teisiti mööda pääsmatu on see ja et siis on ju hea omal südamel ka rahulik, et sa sinna metsa ei kipu mitte sellel ajal, kui ta on ikkagi kaitse all. Et see on nagu üks põhjus, et see jääb siis lastele.
2 aasta pärast sul see 20 aastat veppi kukub, kas sa pikendad?
Miks mitte?
Erametsaomanikega on selliseid lepinguid sõlmitud aastate jooksul umbes 500 ringis. Kui ma olen nüüd erametsaomanik ja vaatan seda saatelõiku ja mõtlen, et järsku minu mets tegelikult ka kvalifitseerub vääriselupaigaks, siis mis ma nüüd edasi tegema pean? Kõige mõistlikum on minna internetis metsaportaali, kus on olemas siis kaardikihil eraldi kiht vääriselupaikade jaoks. Esmalt sealt vaadata, kas tema maa peal on siis vääriselupaik kaardistatud. Kui nüüd tekib selline olukord, et metsaomanikule tundub, et tal on metsas vääriselupaik, aga seda sinna kaardile kantud ei ole, siis tasub ühendust võtta Keskkonnaametiga, et nemad siis juba saadavad oma spetsialisti, kes vaatab selle konkreetse koha üle. Ja ütleme, et jah, minu mets ongi vääriselupaik. Kuidas ma nüüd saan ta siis vepina vormistada? Metsaomanik pöördub esimesena Keskkonnaameti poole. Mingit tähtaega selleks ei ole, võetakse taotlusi vastu aastaringselt. Keskkonnaameti spetsialist siis tuleb, vaatab selle koha üle, vajadusel korrigeerib seal piire, teeb selle hinnakalkulatsiooni, mille pealt siis omanik võiks hüvitist saada riigilt. Ja kui omanikule need tingimused sobivad, ta tahab seda jätkuvalt teha, siis Erametsakeskus on siis see, kes Keskkonnaameti akti alusel läheb metsaomanikuga notarisse. Sõlmitakse 2-poolne leping, millega siis metsaomanik võtab kohustuse vääriselupaigas metsa mitte majandada ja riik omalt poolt siis hüvitab erametsaomanikule iga-aastaste maksetena 20 aasta jooksul metsast saamata jääva tulu. Me tegime eelmisel aastal niisuguse erametsaomanike uuringu, kus tegelikult tuligi välja, et erametsaomanik väga hoolib loodusest ja peab nende väärtuste säilitamist selle uuringu järgi isegi olulisemaks, kui seda metsast saadavat tulu tihtipeale.
Do we have any questions about key habitats? Or I can show you another video about bark beetles. I'll turn on the video.
Livia, we can't see the video yet.
Yeah, did we lost?
Yes, yes, I am.
Are you still there?
I'm still here. For somehow there is a problem with sharing the screen. But I will try again.
Livia, could it be that you just can't start sharing the screen? I had this problem yesterday.
Okay, sorry, I had to leave the seminar for a second. I'll try again. Do you hear and see the screen and hear the sound?
We see your screen with all the videos, not the video.
Okay, okay. I'll try again then. Sorry. I don't know what is going on at the moment. It worked before, but
Are they already on the YouTube as well, or?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yes.
Previous video was really interesting. Yeah. was nice to see that option, how the the forest could be preserved if forest owner wants that way. You make the agreement. It's really cool.
However, as long as Leo is resolving the technical issues, I can just comment that. Actually, I think, yeah, now the video is starting.
Just a second, please. I'll try again. I wasn't sure. Yes. Yes, you can comment, Allar.
Okay, so that this period for the protection is 20 years, but it could be that if the period ends, the owner cuts down the forest. So in some terms, it might be a little bit like waste of money for protection if in the end the forest owner still cuts down the forest.
I continue, please.
So once today, it would be nice maybe at the end that we all turn the cameras on at the end, that we make one group photo at the end of the course, just the reminder. Sorry.
I'll turn it on now. Please let me know if it works.
Kevadiselt üha soojenevad ilmad mõjutavad vahepeal maapõue talvituma pugenud kuusekuureüraskid jälle liikvele. Erametsaomanikul tasub oma metsa käekäigul järjepidevalt silm peal hoida, et kahjurid võimalikult kiiresti avastada, eriti kui metsamaal kasvab valdavalt kuusik. Valgamaa metsaomanik Maimu Kukk leidis ulatusliku üraski kahjustuse oma metsas tänavu kevadel ja nüüd tehakse koos kohaliku metsaühistuga ühiseid jõupingutusi, et mets, millel oleks kasvuaega veel mitukümmend aastat, võimalikult suures mahus säilitada.
Ma juhtusin lugema Maalehest selle Maalehe lisast Metsalehte ja artiklit, kus oli üks Maaülikooli entomoloog, metsaentomoloog kirjutas, kes või mis kahjustusi ja kes ta metsaürask üldse või see kuuseürask on. Ja siis ma hakkasingi seda lugema, et mul ka nagu kuuski natukene, arvasin, et ega siin minul ei pea teda just olema, et mujal Eestis võib-olla on kuskil mujal, aga hiljem juba märtsi lõpu Metsalehes oli kirjas, et Valgamaal on kõige rohkem 2 kuu jooksul kindlaks tehtud, et on neid üraskeid ja siis mõtlesin, et kutsun naabrimehe ka, et tulen nüüd üksi metsa, et ega ma sest metsast suurt midagi nii ei tea ka. Ja tulime siin naabri metsaomanikuga vaatama. Ja oli kuivanud kuuski, siis uurisime, ma olin lugenud ka, et augud on, siis leidsime, et auke on tüvedes ja siis mõtlesin ikka, et peaks ikka ühistu poole pöörduma ja küsima abi, et mis teha.
Aga siin ei ole ju tegu nii-öelda puhtalt sükse värske kahjustusega, et kaua see ürask siin toimetanud juba on, et see mets on sellisesse seisu jõudnud nagu ta on?
Siin minu hinnangul on see siin vähemalt paar aastat niimoodi juba toimunud, et omanik oli nagu südamerahus arvas, et midagi toimu tegelikult, aga ikkagi peale neid 2016 juulitormisid ja viimaseid hästi sooja põuaseid suvesid on kõik kuusikud on ikkagi tegelikult väga nõrgad ja vastuvõtlikud sellistele putukatele. Et puu ei suuda võidelda, kes on nõrk puu, ei suuda võidelda selle kahjuriga, ta ei suuda vaiku toota ja kahjur asustabki selle puu lihtsalt ära ja hävitab selle ja muudkui paljuneb. Sügisene mardikas, teise põlvkonna putukas, kes siin alles on. Siin paistab otsa juures. Et just selline tegelane, see on talvitama jääd siia poore alla. Ja mõnel puhul on neid niimoodi lademes siin sellise kooretükki peal on mingisugune paarkümmend tükki umbes võimalik loendada.
Väike putukas teeb nii palju kurja.
See on tema see täis suurus, elu suurus. Selline see ongi see meie metsale nuhtlus praegu siis. Näed, siin on auk. siit tuli isane sisse kõigepealt eelmine aasta sellest august, mis paistab seal see auk. Näed, ja siis ta närib siia alla, kooreala närib siukse paljonemiskambri või siukse pulmatoo endale. Ja siis 1-3 emast tulevad talle siis külla siia. Ja siis need emased hakkavad siis peale paaritamist siis neid oma käike siia rajama siis. Need on emaste rajatud käigud. Esimene emane reeglina liigub ülespoole ja siis järgmised liiguvad allapoole. Siin on vist isegi tegemist siis 4 käiguga nagu kokku. Ja siis munevad siia servadesse siis munad ja need tõugud hakkavad ajama siis külgede peale oma siis neid elukäike. Ja sinna käigu lõppu tekib siis see nukuhäll nii-öelda, kus omakorda see tõuk siis järjest suuremaks saab, käik läheb järjest laiemaks, lõpuks teeb selle nukkumiskambri. Ja võt nende samade ristikäikudega siis see puu suretataksegi ära, nagu tekivad need puidu toidukanalid lõigatakse nagu läbi ja siis see puu kuivab ära tänu sellele. Need on siin nii massiliselt, et siin on järjest kõik täis. Et see kõik on eelmine suvi toimunud siin puu sees. See puu on eelmise suve ohvriks langenud. Ja nüüd, kui need siit, kes siin tukuvad praegu, need hakkavad siis varsti lendama ja lähevad järgmiste puude, siis selle puuga ei ole neil midagi peale hakata. See puu on juba nende jaoks hävitatud ja siit on toitu ei saa. No jah, iga kuiv puu ei ole veel otsene märk, et see just üraski poolt hukkunud puu on, aga kui sellised laigud on sees, kus on niimoodi 5 või 10 puulised grupid juba metsas kuivanud täiesti, see on üks tunnus. Ja siis kindlasti see, et lähedal olevad puud on võib-olla teist tooni, kollakad. Esiteks kuused muutuvad alguses teise tooniliseks ikkagi, kollakad siis lähevad pruuniks ja siis lõpuks ongi see okas maas. Kui maas on näiteks hästi palju okkavarist, sambla peal praegu on hea näha, praegu rohukasvu ei ole ja kui on hästi palju pruune okkaid maas, siis tasuks nii-öelda pilk üles tõsta ja vaadata, mis seal üleval toimub. Et jaanuaris, veebruaris võib-olla varisesid nende kuuskede okkad, mis on nagu sügisel asustatud putukate poolt ja siis see puu on ju nõrgenenud seal ja siis viskub okkad maha, et ma olen mitmes metsas näinud, kuidas ikkagi maa on kaetud paksult okkakihiga. Ja siis on ilmselgelt, et see metsatükk on üraski tõttu hukkunud ja kõigepealt asustatud ja siis hukkunud. Et sellised märgid seal on ja varsti hakkavad ilmuma nüüd ka need sellised üraskite näripuru kuhjakesed, sellised pruuni pulbrid hakkab tulema metsa igale poole. Kas siis ämbliku võrkudesse rippuma, kui on puu püsti või on lamapuidu peal, siis on sellised pruunid purukuhjad tüve peal. Ja need on ilmselged tunnused, et see ürask hakkab seal metsas uuesti omale pesa rajama ja uut põlvkonda looma. Näripuru on selline, mis kevaditi nähtav. Ja muidu sellist putukalendlust, seda on väga raske hinnata, sest et nad on ju ainult 4-5 mm putukad, et teda nüüd tuvastada õhus lennu pealt on suhteliselt raske, pigem võimatu. Palju lamapuitu on selline majandamata mets on, ega see ei tähenda veel et seal putukas sees on, aga just sellised suuremad puude grupid hakkavad ikkagi surema, see on nagu kindel. Üksikud puud võib-olla metsas, kui on üks ainus kuusk, võib-olla see pääseb, äkki ta ei satu sinna. Ega ürask kaugel ei lendav, ega ta on suhteliselt väikse lennuga. Et kuskil 50 meetrit või 70, ega tal rohkem pole vaja lennatagi, sest ta kuskil ikka satub mõne kuuse peale. Omanik, kui ta avastab, et tal on selline kahjustus või kahtlus vähemalt, et tal on seal midagi metsas, siis ta saaks ikkagi pöörduda kas Keskkonnaametisse, võiks ka piirkondlik ühist üles otsida, kus iganes Eesti otsas see kodanik oma metsasi omab ja leida, või teatada, et tal on sellised ilmingud seal metsas ja kindlasti peaks siis saama vastuse, et minnakse metsa vaatama, kas siis Keskkonnaameti poolt, metsaspetsialisti poolt või siis ka ühistu konsulendi poolt või ühistu esindaja poolt. Keskkonnaamet suudab ka siis juba tuvastada metsaregistri baasil näiteks läheduses olevate metsade sanitaarset seisundit võib-olla seirates, et kas läheduses on toimunud analoogseid juhtumeid, kas seal on võetud sanitaarraieteatisi või lageraieteatisi või metsaekspertiise tehtud. Juba see viitab, et võib-olla piirkonnas on tegemist selle üraski piirkonnaga ikkagi, et oht on suurem. Nii et ega putukas ei tunne neid piire, nii et teda ei huvita see, kas on see Jüri või Jaani või riigi või eramets või kaitseala. Nii et tasub kõigil valvas olla ikkagi selle koha peal. Aga omanik peaks ikka nagu ise alustama sellest, et ta tunneks muret ja pöörduks siis kellegi poole. seda metsa võiks proovida päästa ikkagi just veel selle sanitaarse seisundi parandamise teel, et need haiged puud praegu ära raiuda ja siis ka püünispuud kiiresti valmis panna ja siis kuu aja pärast need kõik see materjalid ära viia. Ehk õnnestub seda puhangut natukene kontrolli alla saada. See ei tähenda seda, et see on garantii, et see niimoodi läheb täpselt. Kui on järgmine aasta sama pilt ja järjest see kolle laieneb ja laieneb, no lõpuks ikkagi tekib küsimus, et kus see majanduslik otstarbekus on, kas seda metsa vägisi hoida või võtta ta ikkagi lõpuks maha ja panna siia siis hoopis võib-olla teise liigiline mets kasvama. Ikkagi selle puhangu kontrolli alla saamiseks on võimalus, et see püünispuu meetod ja feromoonide kasutamine pidurdab seda protsessi, kindlasti ei likvideeri seda, see ei kao kuskile. Ja see laine selles putuka populatsioonis, ütleme selline arvukuse laine see ju kunagi jällegi hakkab langema. Aga jah, antud juhul see mets nagu vääriks veel kasvatamist tegelikult metsanduslikult. Tal ei ole veel jämedust ja vanust, et austades metsa ja puud ta võiks veel olla siin.
Jah, liialt noor praegu veel nii arvavad metsamehed, et las ta siis kasvab veel, aga
paar aastat võiks veel katsetada, aga mitte rohkem, siis läheb asi juba majanduslikult ebamõttekalt.
Next, if no one has any questions, I will try to turn on the next videos about growing mixed forests. They are short videos, there are 7 of them all together. I truly hope that it will work and technical things won't fail. Let's see.
Ja miks üldse segametsa kasvatada, tekib muidugi küsimus. Segamets võtab kõigepealt maha metsaomaniku riskid erinevate puuliikide kas hinna poolest või siis kliima soojeneb, me ei tea ette, mis haigused hakkavad metsas levima. See on üks pool, teine pool on see, et segamets on ka väga tootlik, kui seda õieti kasvatada. Et segamets lehtpuud võtavad mullast ühed toitained ära, okaspuud teised ja samamoodi metsakõdu, mis siia nii-öelda lehtedest ja okastest tekib, on selline neutraalne ja sobib metsa arenguks hästi.
Now I will show the second video.
Tavaliselt lankidel istutatakse ikkagi nagu ühte liiki puid, on see siis mänd, kuusk või kask, et mis ei tähenda seda, et näiteks ühele langile, kus on väga reljeefne pinnas, on kuivemaid nukke, on niiskemaid alasid, et võib vabalt istutada ka mändi kõrgemale, kuuske madalamale, nii nagu ka sellel langil siin on tehtud. Männi osa peale, tõsi, lehtpuid väga palju vahele ei maksaks jätta hooldamiste käigus. Samas mõni tamm, saar sobiks sinna vahele ikkagi, kuna ka nemad, eriti just tamm, ei ole väga kiirekasvuline ja siis kasvavad nad männiga kenasti koos. Kuuse osa peale jätan ma siin juba kultuurihooldusel päris oluliselt kaski alles, eriti arukaski, et siin olid ka langil arukase seemnepuud, mis on küll torm pikale ajanud, ladvad on veel näha seal. Ja on väga ilusti külmad siia arukaske. Ja siin nad on siis näha, et hoolduse käigus on nad praegu kõik püsti jäetud, neid ei ole mõtet üldsegi harvendada. Piisab ainult, kui kuuse ümbrused teha poole meetri ulatuses neist puhtaks, aga siin vahel võiks nad vabalt rahulikult olla. Ja noorendiku hooldamise käigus näiteks 5 või 10 aasta pärast saab juba vaadata neist kaskedest parimad eksemplarid alles jätta ja eriti äge on, kui nad on veel grupiti siin kuuskede sees ja saab väga kena segametsa niimoodi kasvatada. No nüüd oleme objektil, mis on täpselt sama muld, täpselt sama loogiliselt on seda hooldatud kultuuri siin ja istutatud on siia ainult kuuske, aga mida me nüüd näeme siis, et siia looduslikult on tulnud, kuna männi seemnepuid, siis on ka looduslikult tulnud mingi männi uuendus siia kindlasti mõni mänd jääb neist kindlasti ellu ka lõppraiesse. Siin selja taga on näha, et on jäetud üks grupp kaski. Kuna kuused ei ole siin väga hooga minema läinud, siis otsustasin siia jätta ühe 10 noort kaske ja küllap neid on aega siin veel valida paremate tüveomadustega ka järgmises valgustusraies välja. Ja loodusliku mitmekesisuse poole pealt on hästi oluline jätta ka sellised mõned põõsaliigid. No siin on väga hea näide kukerpuust, mis on visuaalselt väga kena ja ta ei sega midagi, et mõned sellised põõsad oleks lindudele väga mõistlik jätta. Segametsa on võimalik ka kasvatada niimoodi, et üldse midagi ei istuta. Et üritame kõik looduse poolt, mis loodus annab, seda välja kasvatame. Aga siin on taga on nüüd selline hea näide, et siin on tehtud korduvalt aegjärgseid raieid ja üritatud ikkagi männi seemnepuude abil saada ka siia nendesse häiludesse männi uuendust. Aga nagu selja tagant näha on, siis mitte ühtegi noort mändi ei ole ma siin 20 aastaga suutnud nii-öelda 2-meetriseks kasvatada, et kõik on kas nad hukkunud ulukite tõttu või on siis ikkagi kuused, tammed nad alla surunud siin. Ehk siis on ju hea näide, et kui me tahame Eestis ikkagi saada tulevikus ka kenasid männikuid, siis me peame tegema lageraie ja need puud kas sinna istutama, külvama, aga vastasel korral ikkagi mändi me Eestis enam ei näe.
Next will be the 5th video. So 3 more videos.
metsakultuuride hooldamisel ei maksaks väga palju teha ülepinnalist hooldust juuli-august, kui ei ole just tegemist väga viljakate kasvukohatüüpidega, kus rohi võib väga lämmatada, et mõistlikum oleks teha koridoridena ümber taime, et seal rohu sees võib olla nii kase kui tamme noori võrseid, mida suvel sealt üles leida on väga keeruline ja näiteks kui tamm niita ära kultuurihooldusega maha, siis tema enam uuesti järgi ei jõua ei okaspuudele ega kasele ammugi mitte. Ja nii nagu enniski rääkisime, et on see kliima soojenemisest, millest iganes tulenevalt meie metsadesse on rohkem hakanud tamme tulema ja teda ei ole mõistlik või ma olen proovinud ka teda istutada, see istutamine kuidagi ei ole hästi õnnestunud, aga ta looduslikult tuleb niivõrd hästi, et pigem lihtsalt üritada kultuurihoolduse käigus neid tammesid säilitada ja siis kasvavad mõnedest eksemplaridest sellised kenad täitsa sirgetüvega puud. Mõistlik on alumisi oksi 3 meetri ulatuses ikkagi ka siin laasida. Kuused ümberringi aitavad tammel laasuda ja nii nagu me ka tagapool näeme, siukse väikse platsi peal on 4-5 ilusat sirgetüvelist tamme ja küllap neist saame päris ilusad metsapuud siia tulevikus. Ja liigilisus mitmekesisust annab ta juurde, kus on probleem see, et näiteks mänd on ulukite poolt kahjustatud, siis annab see tamm sellist kuusele tormikindlust. Tammetõrud on ulukitele väga heaks söödaks, lemmiktoit nii metssigadele kui ka metskitsedele, et igati ilus ja väärt puu metsa jaoks.
And the last video.
Nüüd oleme sellises ilusas samblases kuusikus, mis on küll nüüd puht kuusik ja see, mis on istutatud siia 40 aastat tagasi, poole tihedamalt, kui me istutame täna. Siia ei mahtunudki lehtpuud vahele kasvama ja kui need ka siia tulid, siis tollel ajal ikkagi lehtpuu oli rämps ja see raiuti välja okaspuukultuurides 100%. Et täna ma julgeks nagu metsa sellise mõttega kasvatada ja ma seda ei teegi, et me istutame täna poole vähem hektarile okaspuutaimi, kui istutati 20, 30, 40 aastat tagasi. Et täna ei ole metsameestel eesmärk kasvatada sellist puhtkuusikut, mis on küll ilus, aga ta on metsaomaniku jaoks väga suurte riskidega, et üraskivrüüst, et tormiprobleemid ja nii edasi, et ega täna nagu enam sellist metsa eesmärgiks endale ei sea.
That's it. We have seen all the videos that we have showing you. Perhaps you have some questions.
It looks like there are no questions. Okay.
Okay, then a very big thanks for all of you for Slovenian Forestry Institute who was helping to organize this study tour for us, and our other project partners, Latvians and all the others, and for all the listeners, big thank you too for staying with us for those 5 days.
Yeah, thank you very much. I would also like to have some words at the end. So first of all, thank you, Mara, Livia, Indrek, and Gregoris for organizing this trip through your forests and forestry. I know that it's a challenge to do this through the this online, and I was hoping that we will meet in person again, that we will have this opportunity actually to visit you, but the situation is how it is. But I think you did the best what you could. So thank you very much. I think we can say that from all participants. So if I understood right, you will send us the presentations and videos and all these things so that we can publish them, so that participants will be able to look at them also later on. I would also like to thank all the listeners and all the participants. I think it's a pity that we didn't have a chance to meet again. I think we spent some very nice time together. And the project is ending in October, so we will not have any other opportunity in the frame of Net4Forest project. But I hope that we will find another way to cooperate and to meet also in the future. I think that we had the opportunity to learn quite a lot from each other and to see these differences among the all 5 countries. So thank you very much for active participation. But before leaving, as Yasha mentioned, it would be nice if you can turn on the camera so we can make a group photo. Urban is there. He will take care for that. I would also like to mention that there will be a very short questionnaire when you will leave the Zoom. It's only a few questions about the how you find how you like this training. It takes only a few seconds. So the report from the training will be also prepared. Tina will support Mara and Livia in preparation of the report that we need. And thank you very much again. Thank you very much to hosts, and thank you very much to all those who were with us these 5 days or these 3 years along the Net4Forest project. Thank you. So we are waiting a little bit for the cameras. Okay. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Sorry, at the end of the meeting, a short survey should open.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.